What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into disaster after 4 friends who were all drunk left the bar in the city without a designated driver. Designate a driver. Don't drink and drive.
This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 14th day of January in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. The president of the Bar Association of Guyana, Kamal Ramkaran, has issued a blistering call for the acting Chancellor, Justice Unit Cummings, and the acting Chief Justice, Justice Roxanne George, to be confirmed in the top 2 judicial positions. The 2 judges have been acting in the positions since 2017. During his remarks at the opening of the 2025 law year in the compound of the Supreme Court this morning, Mr. Ramkaran noted that Guyana has been without a confirmed Chancellor for 20 years and without a confirmed Chief Justice for almost 10 years. Speaking before an audience that included senior members of the local judiciary, as well as other judges, attorneys, and members of the diplomatic corps, Ramkaran said the situation cannot be allowed to continue as it currently exists.
This situation is untenable and it is unacceptable, and it is not something that we can continue to have happen. The Constitution is very clear, and like in the no confidence case where the CCJ said the words of the Constitution are simple and they need no gloss, it is the same in this situation. Article 127(1) of the Constitution says the Chancellor and the Chief Justice shall each be appointed by the President after obtaining the agreement of the Leader of the Opposition. There's nothing complicated about that. The first part of it is a duty. It is a clear and unambiguous duty which the law says is compellable. The Chancellor and the Chief Justice shall each be appointed by the President. Once there is a vacancy, a duty arises to appoint a Chancellor. And the second part of it, acting after obtaining the agreement of the Leader of the Opposition, is a power. So the opposition leader has a power to proffer agreement or not. But there's nothing complicated about that. Like every other power, it must be exercised properly, reasonably, and within the confines of the law.
The Bar Association president noted that a child who was born when the last chancellor left office in 2005 may now be completing their university education, and there is still no appointment to the position. He said the current situation should not be accepted by anyone.
The process is not complicated. There is no reason that we should be here 20 years later without a chancellor and a chief justice. And this is not something that should be accepted by anyone, not by the judiciary, not by the people of Guyana, not by the lawyers, by no one.
Mr. Ramkaran said Justices Cummings and George have been performing the duties of the 2 positions without issue, and therefore ought to be confirmed in the positions. He reminded that since 2018, the Bar Association passed a resolution supporting their appointments, and nothing has changed with that position.
I certainly still believe that the 2 people who are performing the role of Chancellor and Chief Justice, I don't want to call them acting, because they're not acting, they're doing their jobs every day. The people who are performing the role of Chancellor and Chief Justice are the people who should be confirmed in their positions, and it should happen as soon as possible.
Questioned on the issue recently, President Irfan Ali said he is still actively considering the situation. Almost 3 years ago, opposition leader Aubrey Norton wrote to the president indicating his support of the confirmation of Justices Cummings and George to the top 2 judicial posts. Mr. Norton has stated that his support remains in place, and it is the president who has been refusing to move the process forward. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. It can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories. that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life. Just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Honey, what were you doing? Let's cash out. Let's cash out.
Shop $5,000 or more at any Massey stores for a chance to win a 2024 Nissan Qashqai Sense and $100,000 every 2 weeks with Massey Stores Christmas Jackpot Promotion.
Guyana, get ready for a special night of 70s soul featuring the Stylistics.
God bless you. You make me feel brand new.
And Blue Magic.
So let the sideshow begin. Hurry, hurry, step right on in.
Valentine's Day, February 14th. Save the date. The Stylistics. And Blue Magic, it's classic 70s soul. Coming to Guyana Friday, February 14th, 2025. Don't miss it.
Make the world go round.
Turning our attention now to the mining sector, Guyana recorded a slight increase in gold production last year as the country continues to battle illegal raids, gold smuggling, and labor shortages, among other challenges. The Minister of Natural Resources, Vikram Bharat, today disclosed that in 2024, the country produced 434,067 ounces of gold, just 1,954 ounces more than it did in 2023. That year, 432,113 ounces of gold were declared. Though the increase in production was minimal, revenues generated from gold production increased by $181 million. The figures represent the first increase in production in 9 years. And while Minister Barrett told reporters that the prospects for gold mining in Guyana looks good for this year, the challenges are many. Among those challenges is that of smuggling. And according to the minister, a broad-based unit comprising of a number of agencies, including the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission and the Ministry of Natural Resources, has been established to tackle the issue.
The operation is ongoing and it involves a number of agencies, including the Ministry of Natural Resources. So that is an ongoing process and will continue and intensify. We've been getting information and we act on information as we get them. And we are encouraging any Guyanese or any person with information, share it with us.
In 2024, the mining sector was hit hard by reports and allegations of smuggling. In one case, a mother and daughter and one of their employees were caught trying to smuggle 240 ounces of gold disguised as silver through the Chenijagan airport at Tamari. The gold was valued at $500,000. In another matter, the U.S. Treasury Department issued sanctions against gold miner Nazar Mohammed, his son Azruddin Mohammed, and their companies, along with Permanent Secretary May Thomas. The Mohammeds were sanctioned for allegedly engaging in tax evasion, gold smuggling, and under-declaration. It is alleged that the Mohammed's Enterprise Company omitted more than 10,000 kilograms of gold from import and export declarations and avoided paying more than $50 million in taxes to the government of Guyana. Minister Barrett said though the Mohammed's dealer license and gold mining permit were not suspended in 2024, the government suspended all transactions with the family and their enterprises. He said as the government awaits information from the U.S. authorities on the allegations leveled against the Mohammeds, the unit continues to pursue other cases involving smuggling and on the declaration based on intelligence gathered. Meanwhile, in the various mining districts, the Guyana Geologian Mines Commission continues to grapple with illegal raids. According to the commissioner of the GGMC, Noel Dennison, hundreds of illegal raids took place last year.
Within the week of the last 2 or 3 weeks of December, we've had maybe about half a dozen interventions in one location alone, where we go. A week after you go back. A week after you go back again. So if we were to keep track of that, and that's not the only area where that's going on, I would figure that we'd have quite a few hundred of those activities that we would have been responded to over the year.
He said while smuggling and raiding are of major concern, the sector has also been hit by poor weather and the labor shortage.
However, there are many challenges that we are still faced with in the sector, weather being a big challenge. And over the last 3 years, we have moved from flooding in 2021 to drought in 2023. And as you know, gold mining is affected seriously by the weather. Labor also continues to be an issue, as being decried by many miners, that labor is an issue, and you know that across all sectors, because of the amount of investments and economic opportunities available across all sectors in the country, it has put a strain on the labor force, with many persons moving away from the mining sector.
The Natural Resources Minister said the gold mining industry continues to face challenges, and the Natural Resources Ministry will continue to work with large, medium, and small-scale miners to ramp up production by utilizing better recovery methods and putting infrastructure in place to access mining sites much easier. A chemical tanker, which the Guyana Maritime Administration Department says is fraudulently bearing Guyana's flag, has been detained by the authorities in neighboring Venezuela for unauthorized entry into Venezuelan waters. The Maritime Department said the vessel is not registered in Guyana and is therefore not authorized to fly the flag of Guyana or claim Guyanese nationality. The Maritime Department also said it operates a closed ships registry and does not offer a flag of convenience. It recalled sanctions being laid against a number of vessels recently, and those vessels were found to be fraudulently flying Guyana's flag and carrying fake registration documents. According to MARA, the issue of fraudulently registered vessels and the operation of a global shadow fleet remains on the radar of the global maritime community. The International Maritime Organization is expected to develop measures to prevent the unlawful practice. On the labor front, Guyana issued almost 14,000 work permits to more than 20 companies last year as the country continues to grapple with a labor shortage, with the oil and gas and construction industries growing rapidly. That's according to the Minister of Home Affairs, Rosen Bannon. The figure for 2024 has more than tripled the number of work permits issued in 2023, when only 4,795 permits were issued. In 2022, a total of 3,192 permits were issued. The Home Affairs Minister explained that the 13,713 work permits issued last year were related to 25 companies in various sectors that reportedly brought in skilled workers to fill the gaps needed for various projects here in Guyana.
One of the issues and challenges we have is that there's a great demand for skills in the newly developing areas, not only the oil and gas offshore developments, but also the developments which are occurring on land and on the associated developments lay down yards, construction, and all of those things.
The Home Affairs Minister explained that the manpower needed in the country in various sectors is way beyond the capacity that is available here. In some cases, he said, companies required hundreds of workers to fill some crucial roles, but cannot find the skill set here in Guyana to fill those positions. He did not specify details on the skilled jobs that may be available.
And so we have to bring in labor and professional skills to get the job done. For when people are talking about the science and engineering required and the vocational and technical skills required for these developments, we don't have them.
The local private sector has been complaining that due to an increase in business operations, there is a massive skill and labor shortage taking place, and that hinders the growth of industries and limits the country's overall economic potential. Vice President Bara Jagdeo has also been raising the issue and the need to import skilled labor. The Labour Ministry has announced plans to offer more training in a number of critical areas to fill the available gaps in various sectors.
Guyana, get ready for a special night of 70s soul featuring the Stylistics.
God bless you. You make me feel brand new.
And Blue Magic.
So let the tide shall begin. Hurry, hurry, step right on in.
Valentine's Day, February 14th. Save the date. The Stylistics. And Blue Magic, it's classic 70s soul, coming to Guyana Friday, February 14th, 2025. Don't miss it.
Make the world go round.
GCOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. If you were 18 years or over on December 31, 2024, and you're a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you need to visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. Wednesday, January 15, 2025 is the last day you can apply for a transfer during this exercise. For more information, contact the GCOM on 2250-278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Monster, bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors, that me crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster, grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Buster, bust the flavors. Buster, bust the flavors.
With an increase in the number of cases being filed in the High Court, Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George today urged persons to seek alternative dispute resolutions, and if those fail, they should then approach the court for redress. Speaking in the opening of the law year this morning, the Acting Chief Justice explained that the filing of cases at the Supreme Court has significantly increased. She said that from October the 4th to December 31 last year, there were 37 appeals filed in the full court and 1,637 cases filed in the High Court. 1,373 of those cases were filed in the Marara, 377 in Berbice, and 76 in Essequibo. She explained that the court has been moving in the direction of paperless, and its e-filing system has also been making things easier for lawyers to file their cases. However, she still urged other means of resolving disputes before heading to court.
Given the high rate of filings, I again strongly encourage persons to consider resolving their disputes through alternative dispute mechanisms, including mediation and restorative justice.
The Chief Justice explained further that despite the increase in the number of judicial officers, the court system still cannot realistically conduct trials in every case or deliver judgments within the 4-month time frame prescribed by law.
Despite ongoing minor issues, and we seem to be having major ones with the tech, but anyway, despite ongoing minor issues which continue to be addressed with the developer Crimson Logic, the transition to the e-litigation system has been a seamless game changer for the administration of justice. Lawyers and litigants alike, as well as judicial officers and the staff at the various registries, have adapted and adopted the new system with enthusiasm.
Meanwhile, the acting Chancellor of the Judiciary, Justice Janet Cummings, noted that the Judiciary has been seeing marked improvements. She said the increase in judicial officers has been assisting with the reduction of the caseload, while the improved infrastructure and new magistrates' courts across the country has also been making access to justice much easier. She said with those developments and the development trajectory of the country, it is important that the local judiciary takes the lead to show that it is capable to rise above challenges.
Our system is made more efficient and more accessible when, despite the challenges, we are able to transform what we have into a system that makes justice accessible and makes it more efficient. Oftentimes, we're called to do little, but rather we're called to do more with little. And we're happy to report that we have been able to achieve quite a lot.
The acting Chancellor said the budgetary allocation from central government has also greatly assisted the judiciary in its quest to make justice easier for persons across the country. In the oil and gas sector now, there were 225 lifts of crude oil from Guyana's floating production and storage and offloading vessels in the Stabroek Block last year, with 28 of those lifts going to the government of Guyana. Each lift entails 1 million barrels of oil. Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat made that disclosure today during a press conference. In 2023, there were 142 lifts of crude oil. In early 2024, the Ministry of Natural Resources had set a target of 205 lifts for the year. Minister Barrett attributed the increase in production last year to the full utilization of the third FPSO vessel, Prosperity, in the Stabroek Block.
And that we have seen increases in almost every commodity across all the sectors. And that is a significant increase from 2023 again, mainly because of the TORC project coming into production and the full optimization of the FPSO in 2024 compared to when it started out in 2023.
Of those 28 lifts that went to Guyana, 7 were from the Liza Destiny, 11 came from the Liza Unity, and 10 of the lifts came from the Prosperity FPSO. The Natural Resources Minister projects that there will be an even greater increase in production this year when the One Guyana FPSO comes into full operation.
So we should have some amount of production from the One Guyana FPSO in 2025. As to how much or how early, at this point in time, may not be able to give you that because it still depends on how fast it can get here and how fast Exxon can actually set up that FPSO.
Meanwhile, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Natural Resources, Jocelyn McKenzie, said the government is still verifying the revenues and royalties generated from the lifts in 2024. 3 months after 31-year-old gold mining worker Kevin Fitku was abducted while at the Giftland parking lot and later robbed of a quantity of money, 2 men, including a police officer, were charged and remanded to jail over the incident. Appearing in court on Monday, Police Lance Corporal Delon Young and Laborer Okima Brummill were jointly charged with the offense of abduction with the intent to hold for ransom, contrary to the Kidnapping Act. During their appearance before the senior magistrate Fabio Azor, the two were not required to enter a plea to the indictable charge. Both men were remanded to jail until the 15th of January for the continuation of the case and the reassignment. Police Lance Corporal Young was initially charged last week with conspiracy in connection with the same matter. He was charged on the same day that the other accused, Okima Brummill, was arrested at a location along the Suzaik-Linden Highway. Relatives for Lance Corporal Young have indicated that at the time of the abduction and robbery, he was in a class at the Guyana Police Force's training complex, and they cannot understand how he is being charged in connection with the crime. Some relatives have indicated that he is a friend of the other accused, Okima Brummill, and Brummill had borrowed his car to run some errands. The incident took place on the 10th of October at the Giftland Mall parking lot. The victim, Kevin Fitco, recalled that he was about to take his vehicle to the wash bay when he was accosted by 3 men and forced out of his vehicle. He said the men identified themselves as police officers and bundled him into a waiting car. The man explained that he was driven around the city at gunpoint and forced to reveal to the men where he lived at Providence on the east bank of the Marara. Fitco said he was driven to his home and forced to hand over a quantity of money that belonged to his family's trucking business. He said the men eventually left, but returned the following day in an official police car, demanding more money. They did not get anything else from him, but he said he filed a report after the men left. The driver of that police car has not been criminally charged in connection with the abduction, but was only slapped with the charge of misusing a police vehicle. The Ministry of Education has been forced to suspend classes for the remainder of the week at the Charlestown Secondary School after scores of pigeons have taken up residence in the classrooms. In a statement this evening, the Education Ministry described the situation as an infestation and said it remains committed to providing a safe and healthy learning environment for all teachers and students. The ministry said it is making moves to address the situation. Scores of pigeons have flocked the school in recent days, attacking students and teachers while messing up the classrooms with their waste. A cleaner attached to the school was badly injured when she was attacked by a swarm of the pigeons. Teachers stayed out of the classrooms today as many of the students stayed away from school. Chief Education Officer Saddam Hussein visited the school today for a first-hand look of the situation. The birds of a feather continue to flock together in the school compound.
GCOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. If you were 18 years or over on December 31, 2024, and you're a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed and, if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can object to anyone who you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. You must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Wednesday, the 22nd of January 2025. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027-829 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyana is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyana's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyana has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into disaster after four friends who were all drunk left the bar in the city without a designated driver. Designate a driver. Don't drink and drive.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look. You know the one. Or one touch. Even one word. I can start with one step. Or one promise. One thrill. One first time. One deep breath. One leap of faith. One day to remember. Or one night to forget. One moment. So many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life. Just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall in the region. Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, says some police officers are now pretending to close stations to hide from criminals. According to Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, he made the comment on Monday as the Parliament debated the rationale for the state of emergency and a further 3-month extension to it in separate motions. The Prime Minister said criminals had become so brazen that they believe they can, without fear, shoot and kill even the police. He said this has led to the belief that the regular laws are not sufficient to treat with the harshness of the criminal element. Contacted for a response on the PM's claim, TNT Police Service Social and Welfare Association President Gideon Dixon said he had no reports of any such incident, adding that the matter would have to be addressed by the Commissioner of Police or the Deputy Commissioners. The number of people internally displaced by gang violence in Haiti has tripled to more than 1 million, the United Nations International Organization for Migration IOM warned on Tuesday. The situation is particularly dire in the capital, Port-au-Prince, where displacement has risen by 87% between 2023 and 2024. IOM figures show. Gangs control almost the entire city, leading to the collapse of the remaining health services and triggering food insecurity. More than 5,600 people were killed in gang violence in Haiti last year alone. And finally tonight, international news. Negotiators were trying to clinch agreement on Tuesday on the final details of a ceasefire in Gaza after marathon talks in Qatar, with mediators and the two sides both saying a deal was closer than ever. However, after more than 8 hours of talks, a senior Hamas official told Reuters late on Tuesday that the Palestinian group was still waiting for Israel to submit maps showing how its forces would withdraw from Gaza. He said the maps included Israeli withdrawals from the middle of the Gaza Strip to allow the return of the displaced people to their homes. A Qatar Foreign Ministry spokesperson earlier today told a press conference that talks on the final details were underway after both sides were presented with a text. U.S. President Joe Biden, whose administration has been taking part alongside an envoy of President-elect Donald Trump, said a deal was close. Hamas said the talks had reached the final steps and that it hoped this round of negotiations would lead to a deal after mediation by Qatar, Egypt, and the United States. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall wishing you a pleasant evening.